Today we look at whether the Jabra Elite 65T are any good for running. .25 miles, 9 minutes, 10 seconds per mile today. Taking it relatively easy, trying to take it easy. It was snowy out, beautiful conditions. I was having a really good time. Definitely trying to still recover from the half marathon race over the weekend. I ran a very easy 10 miles, 9:30 pace the day after the race, and 2 days later, still trying to keep it in the 9-minute mile kind of range for 6.25 miles today. But I was just having so much fun. I frequently found myself pulling myself back, just trying to keep it in that recovery range. I love running in snow, which is a good thing because we're getting a ton of it right now in Chicago. But I've been running in the Jabra Elite 65T for about a week or so, maybe even a little bit longer than a week now. And I've got to say, these are some of the best sounding true wireless earbuds that I've ever encountered. And they have a couple of other really weird features as well. But the thing that I noticed the most about these, other than the really great sound, is that they're huge. They're giant. When you put them in, there's a lot of weight in here, and most of it is kind of inside the ear. It doesn't really stick out very far in terms of how far it comes out from your ears. A lot of the true wireless earbuds tend to stick out really far. This does a good job with the weight in terms of pushing everything kind of inside the, not in your ear canal necessarily. Oh, it does feel like they're like really poking in, almost like Matrix style, like into your ear. But it's filling up your ear, like the inner part of like the ear, not the canal, but the ear part. And so it really like closes off you from the rest of the world. I guess they call that like passive noise canceling. It's just because it's suction cups into your ear. But the other really weird feature about that is, to combat that, the Jabra Elite 65T and I think some of the other Jabra true wireless earbuds have a feature called hear through. And essentially what it does is it pumps in ambient noise into your earbuds using the microphones that are built in to these earbuds. And so it's essentially exactly what I've been looking for over the past couple of months, which is a hearing aid, which I could also use to listen to music. Now, you can adjust some of the settings in the app, and the app is really robust and has a lot of different things that you can do to it. You can set different kind of sound profiles depending on the kind of music that you listen to and the kind of activity you're doing. So there's two main settings. One is study mode and one is commute mode. On the commute mode, you want to have the hear through so you can hear what's going on around you. But in study mode, you don't want that, so you could really knock out the rest of the world and just focus in on your music, or maybe listen to different types of music when you're doing those two different activities. You could also change the equalizer within those two like sound profiles individually. So I definitely, of course, cranked up the bass because I'm weird and all I really care about is how much bass there is. So definitely not an audiophile here. I've been using these for a variety of different tasks, from treadmill runs as long as 10 miles to really put it in a sweat test on them, to commuting, to wearing them for outdoor runs. In the wintertime, it's easy to keep them in because you've got a hat on, and the hat kind of covers this part of the ear. For indoor running or anything where I'm sweatier, the 10-mile run was absolutely fine. I did feel like this was starting to like fall out, and now it wasn't really falling out, but because these suction into your ears so snugly, as soon as a little bit of sweat got in there, that like seal kind of broke, and so I did find myself readjusting it, although it never really fell out. I think in the summertime, if it was a super hot day, any true wireless earbud that doesn't have an ear loop is going to have a problem, and these might have a problem too because of their weight. And another kind of weird thing that happened to me is just yesterday. It was a super snowy day, so the commute got extra long. As I was standing on the bus, I was standing the entire time, kind of holding the rail and like looking down at my phone. After a while, the right earbud just popped out. It like jumped out of my ear, and then it fell on the floor and in between like two guys' legs, and I was like, It was a really awkward, weird situation, very embarrassing. So that was really weird, and it didn't give me like any indication like it was slipping out. It just popped right out, and so that was strange. But during running, I haven't had any issues with it. I still think that because of the way once it gets really hot and humid, these might have a problem, but I'll follow up with you once we get to summer weather. But for now, in Chicago in the winter, right now I'm running in like a neck gaiter and a hat, so everything is covered, if not a balaclava and ski goggles. So these falling out is definitely not a problem, which is great because the sound on these is just so wonderful. And for me, the way that I judge sound is really two ways. The one thing is, how does it sound when I'm running? Because I use these true wireless earbuds for running, and so that's the main thing that I care about. And the other thing is, how do they sound when the volume's really low? For low quality true wireless earbuds, they have a very hard time even getting to low sound. You go from like 0 sound and it jumps up to like a medium level because it can't do sound at that like lower level. These can do low level audio really well without distorting any of the sound, without it sounding goofy. Same thing with the AirPods. Comparing the two, I'd say that these sound a little bit better, and maybe it's because you're getting that suction in there, and so you're able to hear a little bit more range in terms of the sound that's coming out of them. But pure sound quality, one versus the other, I definitely think that these are better. So if you're one of those people that think, the AirPods are trash, they sound like garbage, this is definitely one that I think you should try. Although I personally think the AirPods sound really fantastic and are also a really good running option. These, I think, are a really good running option too, with that one caveat of like if it's super hot, humid, they might do a little bit of slipping. Let me know in the comments if you had these and you're in an area that's super hot and humid, or if you run in them in super hot, humid times, because these have been out for a little while now. Let me know how that's been for you, because I just don't have the ability to really test that yet, other than a treadmill test, which I said was pretty good. Now, in terms of controlling these do have buttons, and there's a ton of them, more than I can kind of remember what they all do. Now, if I touch here, it goes volume down. If I touch here, it's volume up. If I hold here, it's skip forward or skip backwards, and if I hold here, it does the same. So there's like short touches, long touches, and they do different things. In either event, pressing any of these buttons really hurts. You have to really press them to get them to activate, and because this thing is jammed so far in your ear, it's really uncomfortable to press any of the buttons, and it's super hard to do it while you're wearing gloves. Although I can do it if I need to. On the other side, you can play pause by hitting this button. I think it's only one button on the right hand side, and then if you hold it, then you can activate Siri. So if you need to get to Siri or your voice assistant, you could do it that way. There are more buttons, and the app tells you what all those buttons are, but I can't remember any more other than that. And even that, I'm not really sure all the time what's going to happen when I press it, because so sometimes I'll try to fast forward a track by holding it long here, and then Siri turns on, and I just get confused a lot. For the most part, I'm just using my phone. Usually wherever my phone is on my body, I can usually feel through for the volume, and I'll adjust the volume that way. That's pretty much how I operate almost all earbuds. But the other thing that I keep coming back to on these earbuds is that hear through function, like basically turning these into a hearing aid. It makes me want to naturally compare them to Aftershokz, which I tried a short while ago, which has the benefit of like that bone conduction, so your ear canals are actually completely open, which makes them the opposite of these. But the effect is that you can hear your ambient environment around you, which is good for safety, but also good for things like running errands and talking to people like at the dry cleaner, the coffee shop, grocery store, things like that. Just getting your everyday errands taken care of. I thought that these maybe could be a competitor. It does take a little bit of time getting used to, and you could certainly turn it off, and then I think if you turn it off, if you hold the button, it will temporarily allow the hear through to come through. So that's kind of weird as well, and it'd be like a weird way of being like, hold on, you're like being on a phone call and be like this and trying to talk to someone like this. I think that'd be really weird, but you could do that as well. But as I was commuting, I've always had the hear through on, and one time I passed a pair of guys talking, I think in Portuguese, and I knew that they were behind me because I'd walked in and passed in front of them, but the way that the sound was picking them up, it was coming as if they were to the side of me or from some discernible like direction. So I heard this like vague, faint Portuguese conversation with my music, and it was really disorienting because I knew the guys were behind me. And that's frequently the way that the sound here works, is that like I might hear a sound, something that I might need to look at as I'm running, but I can't always place where it's coming from. So it's not really great for in terms of a safety feature for runners, but what it is really well tuned for is when I do go and run errands with it, and I'm going to, like, if I went to the pharmacy or the like a convenience store really quick just to pick something up, I could very easily say I don't need a plastic bag, or I do have like a member card. All those kinds of conversations I could have very easily without even noticing it. That kind of audio comes in really well. I do wish that I could tune it up a little bit so that like the ambient noise versus the music that I'm playing, that ratio could change a little bit, because when I turn the volume down a certain amount, the ambient noise volume comes down too. I wish I could tweak that in the app, because so much else in the app can get tweaked as well. So like that mixture, I wish I could tweak. So that's the one thing that I found a little bit frustrating, but otherwise that works pretty well for conversations, not so much as a safety feature for running, which is kind of where I was hoping these things would take me. But on the other hand, it does let me hear a lot of ambient noise in terms of cars that are approaching from somewhere, which, you know, when I'm hearing a car approaching, there's only so many directions that it can come from. So at least it alerts me a little bit better than if I completely close myself off from the world in terms of earbuds. Does it really serve as that much of a safety feature versus just regular earbuds? I'm not sure, but for those of you that's a big concern, this might go a little bit in that direction. But on the other hand, you might be better off going with just the Aftershokz if that is a primary concern of yours, because these are quite a bit expensive. They're more expensive right now, at least when I was able to find them on Amazon. They're substantially more expensive than AirPods. So if you're an iPhone person, I probably just recommend that you get those, because I do think those do, with their design, let a fair amount of ambient noise in. But if you're not an iPhone person and you're looking for really great sound and earbuds that you can run in, I'd say give these a try. They are a bit pricey, and again, there's that humidity, high sweat kind of caveat. But otherwise, I've been really happy with these. I'm going to be running in these for the next while until I start testing my next pair of earbuds, which shouldn't be for a little bit, maybe about another week. So for the next week and whenever I'm not testing ones, these are, I think, are going to be my go-to earbuds, because I've been really enjoying them. And now, before I go for today, I want to talk about today's charity runner for the day. Today's charity runner for the day is Imani Graham, Imani Instagram on Instagram. She's going to be running the 2019 Boston Marathon, which is amazing. She's going to be doing it for the Public Library of Boston, which is a great cause. That public library is historic. I believe it was the first public library in the nation and the first to actually allow people to borrow books. So a lot of great history and significance to that particular organization, and a great cause to be running for. I've donated $10, and I'll post a link to Imani's fundraising page in the description in case you'd like to learn more. That's all I have for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yo, what's going on?